the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we praise and glorify your holy name. We are humbly asking for your divine guidance as we begin our online class today. May you give us the knowledge and wisdom to understand our lesson, and attentiveness and strength to accomplish the task that we have for this day. May everything that we do and learn find its origin in your wisdom, and through you may we find its purpose in our life, in our home, friends, in our neighbor today, and in the future. We ask this through Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Coming from a long weekend.
Morning, Doc.
Morning,
Morning.
Dr. Pong. Doing good, sir.
Good to know. For sure, some of you had some wonderful out of town holiday. Now, I think this coming several weeks, I think they're expecting two more, no? One is last night, April 21, sa Ramadan, which will be Friday. So maganda yung schedule natin. I just found out from Dr. Rodriguez that we're asynchronous plus at 22. So that's a good treat for us. And another one is on May 1, which is on Monday. So those who are, well, everyone of us working sa most of us sa academe. So that's another treat. So it's a long weekend. So, okay, this is what we're going to do. I just created these dates yesterday, not knowing that we are asynchronous next week. So there will be an adjustment. Okay, so for today, we are going to give the floor to Dr. Mar, and his topic is the use of data and analysis to inform decision making in change management. Now, originally, we're supposed to talk to the case of Lux, but I have more personal sharing on this topic later on. So please allow me to just give you some of my personal experience in this area. Now, as I mentioned earlier, April 22 will be asynchronous. So, Dr. LJ, you will be moved on April 29. So, you will be sharing the report with Dr. Jeff. Okay, so on April 29, we are expecting to have the last two reporters. So the first topic will be the application of leadership and change management principles in a variety of organizational settings, including public sector, nonprofit, private sector organizations. And number two is the impact of globalization and technology on leadership and change management. So looking at the topics ahead, the case that we assigned, which was the LAX, is more appropriate in this topic. So we are going to move our discussion case on April 29. Now for May 6, later on, we will itemize this one. When we started this semester, we laid out what are the expectations. So for the last two meetings, it will be more on sharing of your initial research and group research and individual. So on May 6, I think you already know your groups, or would you like us to refresh the group names? Anyway, so first, yung DDE company, let me just stop sharing. What I did was prior to our setup, I assigned a reading, which is a core. Let me share that. I want you to use this as your startup point. Okay. So earlier this semester, I assigned a topic, an article, which is ito yung title, Leading Organizational Change. Okay. Wait, can we see? Nakita niyo ba yan? Ayan. Ayan. So, this article was uploaded in your group chat, so group chat natin, and it's entitled Leading Organizational Change. Now, this was an actual curriculum used by the Harvard short courses, and the model that we're using is the DDE model. So if you read this article, this is how it looks like yung ating conceptual framework. So let me just scroll it down. Actually, nasa PowerPoint na natin din. So, yeah, this is our conceptual framework, the DDDE. This is where you first discuss among yourselves which company you want to study, okay? And then upon agreement, you try to get all information, what's happening, all about the company. And then the first step that you need to analyze is to diagnose what is a change, why is change needed in that organization. Now, it can be any change. It can be structural, people, leadership. Again, it's up to you. Then, the reason why, according to this reading, why there are some change needed is because of two items, performance gap and the opportunity gap. The performance gap is simply means you are not meeting the expected outputs or underperformance. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why change. Number two is nag-iba ang external factor. There was an opportunity like what happened during the pandemic, COVID. You cannot use the same business model anymore. So if you are a retailer, you are no longer relying on retail shops or brick or mortar. Maybe you can now start using social media, you can use different logistics setup like yung mga delivery. So that's an opportunity gap. Now, once you diagnose the change needed, the group will decide to know what is the form of change is called for. Is it more on step-by-step incremental, or is it radical? So it's up to you for your discussion and decision. Now, in this part, in this design, should it be coming from the bottom, or it should be changed, or the change will be coming from the top management? We know in the school of thoughts in the US, normally it's top down. But in the Japanese management, the Kaizen, 5S, sometimes it starts with the bottom up, right? So it's up to you, try to analyze which would be appropriate. And then deliver. So there are several items that you need to analyze in the company. So how would you implement the change? So that's where your different background comes into play. Maybe some of you remember when we had our leadership styles, you had your different leadership styles. So this is where you try to see which will be the best for the company. Again, during the semester, I also had a reading regarding your Dr. Ben Fari. What is your conflict issues. What are your style in handling conflict? So again, we have different individuals, so that means you have different ways of solving conflict. So this is where it comes to play. Now, again, it depends on your analysis. Will it be the localized or it will be system-wide implementation? Now, the more specific you are, the better. So if you decided to design a system-wide implementation, then maybe in your presentation, you can show it how it's done. Maybe it's in a timeline with the resources and people who's in charge. So you can have that into play. Kung localized, then what will be the setup? Will it be how will be the responsibility? How will be the implementation? Will it be something that is measurable muna? It's more about the local or the local manager responsibility. How would you monitor it? Things like that. And then the timing. One of the things that we can learn from business is timing is very important, especially if you are planning for a change management, and equally important if you are implementing and sharing the change management to your people. So sometimes I remember, if you still remember the debacle of Colegio San Lorenzo, the timing was off, di ba? If you remember, they called a PTA meeting and just to announce that they are closing down. So that's the reason why went well. And then you know what's next, di ba? The nightmare of multimedia, social media, the news, parents, students were upset. So, and then there are schools who are ready to help the students and parents as well. And then, what actions should you take? Now, again, more specific, better, something that is measurable. You can use your own experience. You can use forecasting, any tools that is available. You may use that also. And then, what are the skills? The skills that I need. Siguro dito rin papasok yung ano, if I may, what kind of technology should also be implemented? Kasi I know that this model is still in existence, but sometimes it's nice to impart new variables, diba? So technology, skills, competency, yan. Because skills and competencies are two different things. So maybe you can also want that to consider in this aspect. And then, part of delivery, who will be affected in that change management? So try to identify the stakeholders. And equally important, what is the definition of quality, or what is the definition of, is there a status quo? So again, using the stakeholder analysis, try to see it. And then from there, you would create a big picture and see if you need to create a buy-in or different kind of approach that will satisfy those who will be affected. Again, this model is just a guideline. As a doctorate candidate or doctorate students, I would like and encourage you to also infuse some of the theories and or the practical strategies that you might think would be applicable in this scenario. And then, of course, at the end of the day, let us evaluate. How would you evaluate? What will be the performance indicator? And how can we measure? Kasi sa management, basic management 101, if you cannot measure, you cannot manage. Diba? So, towards the end of your presentation or the report, be specific in terms of measurement, the time, the resources, among others. And since we have 3 hours presentation or 3 hours allotted in our class, maybe it's safe to have at least 45 minutes per group or per pair or per group. And then let's allot 15 minutes for Q&A so other groups can ask questions. And by the way, I would also take this opportunity with your permission to invite some of my colleagues to listen to your presentation. Now, I would like this to be more very informal, more informative discussion. I want you to be excited on what you need to present, share. Um, Maybe it's not reflected here in terms of change management, but I would like to also, if it might be applicable, maybe you can also consider what would be the best leadership style do you think would be appropriate for the change management that you propose? Para it will complement, diba? It will complement. Kasi maybe you might propose this change management and the leadership style is completely different. Then it might be sayang naman, useless. So siguro you can add, again, please add other pertinent information that will make it more so your recommendation can be stronger in the sense. So there's consistency. Now, this again, this literature is very, very handy because each stage the author was able to itemize. Now, if you read this article, it focuses specifically per page. Now, again, like siguro gayahin lang natin yung shed, this will be the minimal literature. So again, I would encourage everyone to add that will complement per stage. You can use previous research. You can use recent research, recent articles. So that's my parameters. And then very, very helpful though, because if you are now comfortable using this framework, then at least we were able to present new frameworks, hopefully in these special topics. Aside from those change management models that we discussed previously, then we include the Bowman and Beering as well. Okay. So again, if everyone will agree, let us use this schedule on May 6. Now, do you still remember your group mates or hindi na? Do you still remember your group mates or hindi na? Hindi na?
Yung last po ba, Doc, na
Okay, let me see. I think it was file February something. Let me open that file. There's this let me stop this. So while looking for my information, is there any questions that you want to ask? I think ito ata yun eh. We decided to use the same pair from your case study. Ito. So sa DDE. Ayan o. If I may not mistaken, ito ba yun? Or meron pang other groupings that you remember that we had? Parang yun na yun ata. Yun na yun. Tama? Tama ba?
Doc, yung last time, Doc, ano po? 3 members po kami last time.
Sino kayo? Ito ata yung number 3. 3 members ata ito eh.
Belgium, Orsine, and Aram po, Doc.
Okay. Sige. So let's just finalize our group na. Kailangan para maayos na natin. Okay. Sir, okay. Groupings for May 6. Okay, so group 1, sir, can you indicate again Dr. Aram,
Opo. And Dr. Orsine and Dr. Belhica po.
And Dr.
Me po, Belhica po, sir. Doc.
Finish. Well, that's G.
GICA po. Opo, Doc.
And then group 2, tama ba yung ano natin? Yan. Group 2, ito, group 2 and group 3 is 2 per group na. Okay. Sino ba yung group 2?
Doc, kami yung group 2 tapos tatlo din kami sa group last time.
Lalo na ba tayo lahat? Ano na ata tayo?
Kaya lang Doc, yung po kasing groupings na yon ginamit natin siya during the report of Dr. Espiritu.
Yes.
Opo. That's why parang nawawalan, parang wala po niyan group si Doc Reg po.
Okay. Can you pull out that lecture yung I remember it was we assigned it. Let me see. Let's go. Yung first presentation natin was
Communication, Doc. Effective.
communication ata. Yung since walang since the report, yung first reporter,
Yes, Doc.
siya yung
So yung group 2, Doc, ako po, si Dr. Banaag at saka po si Dr. De Vera.
Apat kayo?
Tatlo lang po, Doc, kasi para pong si Doc Reg po nun, facilitator.
Okay. Ano ba yung communication?
Developing effective communication and interpersonal skills.
Ito yun,
Yes.
This one. Doc Belgiga, Doc Aram, Doc Arsin, Doc Rodriguez, Doc Rivera, Doc Bala. Ito yun. So wala si Doc Espiritu. So tanggalin natin because it's not part. Doc Aram, Doc Peter, Doc Arsin. Okay. Since nabanggit naman ni Doc Belgiga kanina na tatlo sila sa group, from two groups, gawin na natin, from 3, gawin na natin 2 groups. Okay na ba sa inyo yan, guys? So, originally, sabi ni Doc Belgiga is Dr. Aram, Doc Belgiga, Dr. Arsin. And then, team 2, Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Rivera, Dr. Banaa. Doc Espiritu, would you like to choose which group para 2 groups na lang tayo to finalize? Which of these 2 groups would you like to join? Nandiyan ba si Doc Espiritu?
Wala po ata siya, Doc.
Wala. Since wala siya, i-assign na natin siya. Okay, so who would like to be part of Doc Espiritu's member?
Doc,
Yes.
doon sa team 1, we included po Doc Espiritu last submission po of the output.
Okay, so sige, let's make it na lang group 1. Si Doc.
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, again, to reiterate, this would be our group for the DCE, DDE. Okay. Okay. So let's finalize it later. I'll upload this to our group chat. So just to make sure for the groupings for presentation May 6, DDDE, Group 1 will be Dr. Aram, Dr. and Dr. Espiritu. Okay? Espiritu. And then for Group 2, Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Rivera, and Dr. Bana. Now, which is better, I think, kasi you have more time to present, more time to discuss. So maybe from 45 minutes, you can have 1 hour and 10 minutes, and then we will just have a panel of discussion, 15-20 minutes per group. And then continue sa last day, May 13, our last day. If you remember, we decided to come up with a concept paper. This is an individual. Now, if you want to, again, review the format that we are going to follow is the one with Sanbeda Journal item. Okay? So again, for a quick review, this is how it looks like. Specifically, we can follow the one that is written by Dean Roque. Okay? Kasi kay Dean Roque, he did not perform any surveys. What he did was he used articles, survey, magazine, research, journal. Yeah. So again, just to give more item. This is how it looks like. Okay. Sorry, tumagpasa pala ako. Ayan. Maybe sa written form, we can use the same format. Maybe you can use same na rin nito para when we submit kay Dr. Jobe, she can simply if they would accept it, they can publish it. Now, please follow the format, the title, your name, your email address, and the school, and then the abstract. Normally, the abstract is like 2 to 250 words. Give what is the paper all about, how did you do it, and what are the important findings, and then introduction. And then sa introduction, you can include subtitle topics that would support your paper. Okay, so this one is he's creating a case about the growth of the IOP, and then what is the impact of this growth. So he pinpoint that since this is growing, then it means emerging jobs. And then you would see naman that he would use magazine towards industry sources, Tech Republic. So this is actually I think this magazine or journal is specialized IO 4.0, and then it's IO Rev. And then as a management, how would that imply sa leaders management? Maybe you can include this leaders management, and then this one. So what is the tools by the leadership use for the IOP? And then to balance the discussion, Dean Roque also presented what is the challenges in leadership. Kasi for every change, there's always learning curve, there's always a risk, there's always a possibility of disruption, right? So yeah, binigay niya dito. And then what are the competencies and characteristics that leader needs to adjust in an IOP environment? So he quoted this. And then conclusion, maybe you can, based from the references, the journals, the research related to your topic, then maybe you can come up with a conclusion that will hopefully add, or at least add a new information about our management. So in this point, the conclusion is just less than 200 words. So let us look at it. Like in any other concept, the IoT, the Internet of Things, is faced with blockage that stand in the way to realize its potential benefits. Ethical issues emerge on data privacy, online security, surveillance, hacking of data, and technological infrastructure capacity loom. There are also issues on policies, regulation, and in control and development. In the labor sector, there is anxiety of displacements and losing jobs in favor of robots, which are proven to be more efficient and more cost-effective than humans. Leaders play the most important role in creating strong and skilled teams to fully utilize the benefits of IoT and view the challenges to growth and further develop of IoT as tools to higher revenue opportunities. And then, of course, I think sa Sanbeda you're using APA format. So this is how it's done. So word format, I think if some of you can actually there's a standard format in our Word, so you can set it up, and then the Word will automatically format it. Yeah. So in this journal, how many reference? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 references in this article. Now, on the day that you are going to present this, just a simple presentation of PowerPoint. I leave it to you how would you like to present it. And then the time limit for your presentation will be at least 15 to 20 minutes. And then there will be a clarification, Q&A questions, more on clarificatory questions. Okay, so those are the dates. Lagay ko na rin dito para ma-update ko na to. This is more or less how our schedule will look like for the next coming weeks. Except lang kung may bagyo or hopefully wala na, but this is how it looks. Okay, any questions regarding the important dates, regarding sa PPE, regarding sa presentation? I will also post later on yung mga assignments natin para we know we can do a quick inventory. I will put, parang tulad ng dati, when we do our portfolio, I will identify if that item is a group work or an individual. In the case of group work, just on your portfolio, you can have the same report with your group mates. So yun, para. So is there any questions before we start the report?
Dr. Pop, will you share the soft copy of the journal?
Yes,
Parang wala
yes.
sa site, ha?
Actually, sir, the journal has already been posted in our group chat.
Okay.
Equally important, tama si Doc Arab, we can also submit it, or I'll also upload that in our red canvas.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Doc Pop.
But just for reference, let me just show you. Ayan. Alam mo, minsan magandang di magbura ng ng group chat kasi later on, if lalo na sa mga kokompre, you can use that as references, yung mga email, yung format. Yan. So, ang tanong ni Doc Arab kanina, again, if you look at our group chat, all you have to do is look at the files and you would see the files that we shared during the semester. Now, the one that I showed earlier, yung DDDE is here, okay? Leadership change. The one with the Sanbeda Journal, it's entitled 2019 Sanbeda Journal, is here. So it's open for everyone. But then again, I would like to also utilize the red canvas. I will upload these files as well. And this is also true with some of the cases that we discuss during the semester, yung seminar, there's also yung topics nyo, and of course, there are additional readings from Dr. Benpari. So I want you to look at this. And of course, our labs case study about Deborah. And then, yun, nandito lahat. So again, if you don't see it's a red canvas, it is available in our group chat. And I think it's more, so do not, do not leave the group kasi you might find this useful not only compre but later on if you are assigned in a similar topic, then at least you have some materials. By the way, all the materials that I'm sharing here, you can also use it and change. Sayang naman, di ba? So that's my at least contribution for this subject sa mga readings natin. Okay. So anything equally mga ganun, stop. Yeah. Do you have any other inquiries? Let me just post again that. Yeah, kasi I know this is not only your subject, but at least we can visualize na yung ating the next items. Yeah. So today, Dr. Mar, Sigurus next week, 29, 2 presenters, and then presentation of DTE, this is group. And then on May 13, we end up having an individual concept paper. So concept paper, I want you to be excited because since this is a selected topics, I would assume that the topics that you choose is something that is of your interest. Kaya it will be exciting because we are having several students here. So we are looking forward to 6 or 7 different topics. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. And again, all presentations will come with a written report, all your references, all your materials. If you use YouTube, include that in your references link. Para when you do the portfolio, it will be something that is very something that we can forward to Dr. Jove's office, and at the same time we can save it sa cloud for future references. Especially, I think all the universities and colleges are now into accreditation, so obviously sooner or later they will ask what are the materials that we used during this class and how we implemented the classes. So yeah. Okay. Siguro by next week, I will share some of the portfolio to some of you who were my students before. You already have an idea. But those na hindi pa, probably I will ask Dr. Rodriguez she did a very good portfolio from our marketing. I will, with your permission, Doc Rodriguez, I'll show it next meeting para
Yes po, Doc. No worries po.
or para makita. Or maybe if you have I think I have a copy. Kasi as early as now, it's better to look at what is to be expected para hindi kayo mag-cram. So let me with Doc's permission, I'll share with that. Very, very, when we talk about portfolio, it's about a systematic way of documenting what we did during the semester. And the good thing about this is that it can always be used as a reference for improvement as well. And when you revise some of the future topics, then it can be used and makita nyo what is the output. So let me just Okay, so this is an example of a portfolio was submitted by Dr. Rodriguez. So at the time, we had our advanced marketing management and wala naman template ang San Beda for portfolio. So we decided to come up with our own, or Dr. Rodriguez was able to come up with very nice presentation. So what she did was put a logo and then what is it all about, the subject, the date, and the student. And we included the table of contents para later on it will be easy reference. And when we look at the item, this is an indicator that this was an assigned presentation to the candidate. And then the action paper, and then this is a case study. Siguro what we can do, case study, and then Wendy's capitalizing on emerging social media trends. And then I believe that the advanced marketing plan of PSP is a group work, same as the digital marketing plan of PSP. Because marketing namin, what we did was there's a presentation of the traditional marketing. And then we also covered the digital marketing plan as well. Kasi when we talk about marketing like nowadays, we should also include all the platforms, the big data. Siguro ngayon sa marketing, we should also include the chat GPT because it's the artificial intelligence as well. Kasi this is what's happening right now. So again, this is how it looks like. And again, if it's like this is how you presented your presentations of PowerPoint, just do it accordingly. Yeah, very neat. Okay. This is our presentation during her. And what I like about the presentation is she also went out of her way to look at research regarding website, what's happening right now. So Dr. Rodriguez is able to quote some of relevant issues when it comes to website. And of course, what was the highlight? What was the findings? So this is a very good references. And then reference, of course, very important in our academic setup. We should always put references. And then, kasi this one, later on, if you do your compre, all you have to do is look at the portfolio and just be reminded of what was discussed in that topic. So, references, our website, how to build an effective website. Yeah. So, in this presentation, she was able to come up with several ways. Actually, sa compressed advanced marketing, I asked one of the case question about building a website. Yeah, so, and then very, very clean web usability components. I remember she discussed this very well. And then elements. Yeah. Kaya when Dr. Rodriguez or some of the group mates will take compre and then digital marketing will be part of it. And then this will be some of my references. Ayan. So scroll down. Updated essentials, SEOs, PPC, mga others. Ngayon, maganda to kasi, since you already have the format, all you have to do is update what's happening. So is it still the same traffic in terms of mobile? Is it still the same pay-per-click, SEO items, terms as of 2023? And then, she also discussed, included some of her notes sa PowerPoint. Now, I would like to encourage you to include your notes when you do your presentation. Kasi this is where some of the information might be discussed that hindi nakita sa PowerPoint. But when you look at the notes, some of them are there. So it's also a very good review and references for future usage. Yeah. Kasi normal sa PowerPoint, we like more on uh, drawing, illustrations, but explanation. Is not there. Yeah. And then we also had our webinar about disruption of innovation that was conducted by the college, the graduate program. So Dr. Jobe asked all the candidates to watch that webinar. So what we did was we assigned it as part of your requirements. So and then advanced marketing and social trends. We had also our Wendy's case study, and I think so sa atin it's pretty much the same. All the case studies, all the readings, all the will be itemized, and then of course their group project. Yeah, I thought they use business model canvas. Although at the time we did not discuss that, but since the group might evaluate it as one of the requirements as basis, so they use it. So it's okay because that's how they analyze it. It says they also did industry attractiveness scores. What are the critical success factors that you need to do, and then they evaluate it against the competitor. Yeah. So kahit na hindi mo naging, even if you didn't take marketing class in my subject, but if you have this portfolio, then it's like you attended and got what is at least the essence of the subject mo time. Yeah. Ang maganda kasi sa end of the report, ano na yun, combination of all the marketing strategies that you might want to consider. Okay, so this is how your portfolio looks like, and if it's not a problem, I'll ask Dr. Job if she wants a hard copy. But it's always nice to have a soft copy kasi ito we can always save it and print it. And ito maganda to. This is the jewel of the group presentation. They presented a digital marketing growth rate for the 5 year. Malamang hindi na dito Doc Rodriguez, wala nang dito. Wala pa kayong chat GPT dito, no? Saka AI. And
Yes po, Doc. Hindi pa namin alam yung chat GPT.
When we were discussing, kaya makita mo talaga ang bilis ng technology. Kaya if you look at this again, then yan na, papasok na yung big data, artificial intelligence. Pero ano naman yun? That would interject the social media platform. Gagamit pa rin ng TikTok, but it will be easier, faster, and more effective because of the implementation of the AI. Ayan, marketing strategies. Siyempre, budget is very important. Meron pa kaming discussion dyan kung why some of the finance committees not approving marketing digital budget. Kasi again, as marketing, you have to prove that for every dollar that you put in sa marketing, there should be a corresponding profit, di ba? Ayan. So maganda to. This is what they propose, digital organization, playing field. And then I remember when they presented these, I invited also some of my colleagues who also had a good time listening to them. They learned. It was more on clarificatory questions because they're interested. And I think I will do the same with the group and individual. Again, it depends on the availability, but I think they will do the kind of summary of digital marketing plan. So sa compre nyo, it's more, at least if I do the compre questions, I am more into the implementation of knowledge sa particular subjects. Yeah. So, very detailed siya. So, good job, Dr. Rodriguez. Very, siya, comprehensive. Ayan. And then, at the end, please put your resume and your recent picture. Okay? So, yun. So, that's how, in a nutshell, how it looks like. But again, I think this is a big file. You cannot post it sa Facebook kasi sa Facebook, it's only allotting 25 MB. So if you want to have a copy, I think it's best to go to the source, ask Doc Rodriguez na lang. Okay, so anyway, naka-record naman to. So if you want to scroll it, pwede na rin. Okay, so I think we already covered the important dates, what to be expected on the remaining days. Now, I will come up with a list in terms of what are the things that we're asked to do, both individual and group. Tama-tama, I'll do that probably I can post it during the next week para you can compare if you might miss out some of the items that was asked to do in class. And then I would like to also post it as early as possible para if I missed something out, you can also add or comment that I missed out this task or assignment. Okay. Now, I think that's about it for important dates. Before we move to the reporter, again, is there any questions that you want to ask? Clarification, announcements that you want to make? Do you have class ba after my class? Normally, may class pa kayo.
Yes po, Doc.
What is your class after my class?
Organizational development po, Doc, kay Dr. Sempron.
Dr. Sembron. Okay. Kasi naisip ko kung wala kayong class, maybe during your presentation, we can have it somewhere para mag-face-to-face tayo. Kaso nga lang, that might not be possible because you have a class after. Online din siya, no?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, so lahat kayo class na yan. Okay, sige. So, if there's no any questions, then we want to give the floor to Dr. Mar, and I like the topic, the use of data and analysis to inform decision making in change management. Now, in every single one of us, as you look at your job or your decision, whether it's an entrepreneurial or corporate, we always use data. And sometimes, if you cannot look for a data, you try to see or compare. So this report, as we study our subject, leadership and change management, Dr. Mar will emphasize the importance of data. Now, data, again, you should be very, very careful kasi you might have some data that is not accurate. Then, if you don't have if you have that kind of wrong data, then obviously you're gonna make a decision that is mali because of the wrong data. Let me just give you a quick example. When I did, at the time I was still a junior consultant sa Tulisi, one of my boss, former department secretary, DOT secretary, si Narsley, she had her consultancy firm specifically for Tulisi. So to cut it short, I just finished college. So she hired me as a consultant, and we had a project Puerto Galera. She has a very rich client, and this client owns hundreds of hectares in White Beach and in Sabah. Hindi nga niya sinabi kung sino pangalan nun, pero obviously it's sobrang yaman. Now my task simply is to collect data because what the owner wanted is to see what is the best investment that she can do for her idle land. So to cut the story short, the first thing that I need to get is the data in terms of tourism. What is the simple number of tourists? When I get every single province, they also have a regional Department of Tourism office. But obviously, when I went there, I was shocked because I asked, what is the data in terms of tourists arriving in White Beach, Dumaguete, and Sabah, and in Puerto Galera as a whole. So she gave me a number figure. Sabi niya, ito. I was equally surprised when I asked, how did you get the data? So it was so basic na sinabi niya, okay, if you see that boats, sabi niya, that consists around 20, 30 people, but in a good day, 40, 50. So I'm just making an estimate. So for instance, if it's peak season, for this month, I will make it as 50 to 60 per trip. So if that boat makes a total of 5 trips and there's 7 total boats in this island, then this is the number of tourists. So knowing that information, I kind of felt that the data was not accurate and there was, but this is the sad thing. If the report came from a regional tourism office, like what I mentioned earlier, then DOT has no choice but to consider it as official. So that's sad because you're starting with an old wrong collection of data. Now, because of this wrong data, it will forward to the national office. Then they will use this data to come up with national strategic plan for the tourism. So mali-mali na siya in sense. So that's just one regional. So can you imagine if everyone is the same approach? Kaya doon ko na-realize the importance of education and educating front office, regional officer sa provinces. Kasi if they don't know how to collect simple data, then they are feeding wrong information, and then later on, if we look at the use of data analysis, then we might have this impression na this is the increased number of tourists. Yung pala hindi, kasi some of them are not actually tourists. Some of them are just coming from Puerto Galera, they went to Batangas, and they went back. And the sad thing, they are considered na count as tourists. So misinterpretation and the data store. So again, this is why the use of data and analysis for us to make a decision is very important. Equally important is the integrity of the data. So let us give the floor to Dr. Mar. Let us learn what he will share to us. And then after his presentation, we're gonna have a 5-minute bathroom break and then Q&A. And then let me share my own story regarding this topic. Okay? So Dr. Mar, you have the floor. Can
Yes,
you
Doc.
share? You have the. Let me see if you can. If you have the ability to share, I'll make you a co-host. Yeah.
Okay.
So that gives you the privilege to share the screen.
Nakikita na po, Doc, ang aking screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, a very nice presentation.
So I will just put it in presenter view.
Okay, thank you. By the way, while Dr. Mar is finalizing his presentation, I would like to do a shout out those who are done with their presentation. Please upload your PowerPoint in our group chat. To those who already did that, thank you. Yeah, so Dr. March already ready. Okay, so you have the floor, Doc.
Yes, Doc Pong. So thank you po. Doc, good morning. And to my classmates, good morning. So I will be presenting po the topic regarding data-driven decision-making in the context of leadership and change management. So business operate in an increasingly complex and fast-paced environment. So leaders and managers need to make informed decisions quickly to stay ahead of the competition. In recent years, the use of big data and machine learning has become a popular approach to support decision-making processes in organizations. So this approach is also known as data-driven decision-making. In our topic today, we will explore the role of data-driven decision-making in leadership and change management and its potential to enhance organizational performance. So my name po is Marbel Hica and I will be discussing po data-driven decision-making. So before we formally begin our discussion, I will be presenting a brief YouTube video about data-driven decision-making for business leaders. So this is just to give a head start to our discussion. So it is a 6-minute video po. Let me know po if my audio.
Welcome back, friends. In this video, we're going to be
Thank you,
talking
Doc.
about data-driven decisions. And if you want to be successful in today's modern business environment, this is a mental shift that you need to make. And it's a mental shift moving from making decisions using your gut instincts to making decisions based on data. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about how to use data to drive your business. Before computers, so many business decisions were made by gut instinct or intuition. But now that we have computers, we have so much data that is at our fingertips. The problem is that so many businesses today still operate as if all that data does not exist. They either do not know the data exists in their accounting systems, or they don't know how to pull it out. They are still making decisions the old way, but we don't have to do that anymore. If you can figure out how to pull out that data and then use that data to inform your decisions, you will increase business performance. I want to look at two common business decisions as examples. Number one, should I increase my staff? And number two, should I purchase new equipment? These sound like simple questions, but they're actually very complex. Your goal as a business leader is to make the mental shift from answering these questions by themselves to breaking the questions down and making data-driven decisions. I'm going to give you a process for performing data-driven decisions. Number one, break questions down. 2, find the data. And 3, track the data. Let's look at the first question. Should I increase my staff? You can break this question down into 2 smaller questions. Do I have the money? And do I have a need? And each of these more defined questions can be supported by data. So let's look at the question, do I have the money? There are 2 data sources that can help you answer this: cash available and your forecast. So for cash available, you can look at your working capital and whether you have funds to cover an additional salary. For forecast, you'll want to know revenue projections and determine whether it's likely you'll be able to cover increased salary costs. Ideally, you'll want to put quantifiable metrics in each area. Now, this is going to be different for every business, depending on the volatility of your revenue trends. But here is one potential example. So for cash available, you can hire if you have half of the annual salary already available. For forecast, you can hire if reliable revenue streams with 90% certainty will be able to cover the annual salary expense for the first year. Let's look at the second question. Do I have a need? Does your business really need another employee? Is there data that can support this? And for this, you can look at a couple of different things. You can look at overtime, delays, or process numbers. Now, a lot of people look at overtime. Personally, I don't like using overtime metrics because excessive overtime can easily be the result of a manager who does not know how to schedule their people's time, and not necessarily an indicator of business need. Delays are a much better metric. Are there areas in your business that are running slow, that are constantly behind? People can't keep up with their work. Are these delays because there's not enough staff to perform the work? And then we can look at process numbers. How many items are being processed? Is complexity increasing? Is the business getting busier? Increased workload could indicate the need to hire. In summary, if you're thinking of hiring more staff, there's a story happening that you need to be able to tell. Your business will be growing, you're expecting more revenue, and you need more people to perform the work. So the data you're gathering should support that story. If it does not, maybe you should not be hiring right now. Let us go back to the process. So now we have broken the questions down. Now we need to go and find the data. You can then go into the financial system and pull out the data to answer these questions. And finally, you can track this data over time. So this is not going to be the only time you hire new people. Maybe this is information you can track over time. One of the greatest things that you can do as an accountant or a finance professional is to find the data for your leadership to help inform their decisions. My hope is that all of this helps you understand the mental shift I've been talking about. So we've been looking at the complex question, should I increase my staff? And instead of making the decision using gut instinct, we break down the question and use data to guide the decision. Let's look at the next question. Should I purchase new equipment? And we can use the same process. Break questions down, find the data, and track the data. There are a lot of capital expenditure analysis spreadsheets available with different methods to calculate ROI, or return on investment, for equipment. But the goal is all the same. You want to be able to take these complex business decisions, put them into an Excel spreadsheet with your data, and let that guide your decision. One final warning. Data is not perfect. And next week, I'm actually going to make a video about some of the common problems.
Nawala, sir.
Kinat ko na po, sir. So, yun po. So, the YouTube video highlights the importance of data-driven decision-making in businesses. The speaker emphasizes the need for business leaders to embrace data and leverage its power to make better decisions. So he provides examples of how data can help businesses understand their customers better, optimize their operations, and reduce costs. The speaker also emphasizes the importance of using data to drive innovation and create new opportunities. So more importantly po, the video stresses the need for businesses to invest in data-driven decision-making and develop a culture that prioritizes data-driven insights. So our agenda for this presentation are the following: the importance of data and analysis in decision-making, pros and cons of data-driven leadership, common traps of data-driven decision-making, real-world examples of data-driven decision-making, 3 core capabilities in pursuit to become data-driven, steps to effectively make data-driven decisions, and lastly, ethical considerations in data-driven decision-making. So our agenda will provide a framework for our discussion to explore the significance of data-driven decision-making in leadership and change management processes. We will delve into the advantages and disadvantages of using data to inform decision-making and the potential traps of relying solely on data in leadership. Furthermore, we will examine the real-world examples of successful data-driven decision-making and the core capabilities required to become data-driven. So the presentation will also highlight the necessary steps in making effective data-driven decisions while considering ethical considerations. Our first agenda is to know the importance of data and analysis in decision-making. So in this slide, we will be presenting the definitions of data-driven decision-making, or DDDM, sourced from multiple references. So the definitions emphasize the process of using data to make informed, strategic decisions that align with organizational goals and objectives. The use of metrics and key performance indicators helps organizations overcome biases and validate a course of action before committing to it. Data-driven decision-making is also highlighted to make decisions based on actual data rather than intuition or observation alone, enabling organizations to achieve business growth and improve performance. So these definitions emphasize the importance of using data to inform decision-making processes and how it can lead to more effective and efficient decision-making within the organizations. So in this slide, we have derived our own definition of data-driven decision-making based on the definitions presented earlier. So our definition highlights the importance of taking a systematic approach that relies on data and evidence rather than intuition or assumptions when making decisions. So the goal is to achieve improved performance and better outcomes within an organization. This definition emphasizes the need for a structured approach that incorporates data and analysis into decision-making processes to achieve successful outcomes. Now we will discuss the key importance of data in decision-making. First, data enables consistency and continual growth by providing a consistent framework for decision-making, which can lead to more reliable outcomes over time. For example, a retail company that tracks sales data and customer feedback can identify trends and patterns that enable them to consistently improve their product offerings and customer experience. Secondly, data-driven decision-making can lead to higher productivity and profits by helping organizations identify inefficiencies and areas for improvement. For instance, a manufacturing company that tracks production data can identify bottlenecks in their processes and make changes that result in higher output and profitability. Thirdly, fostering a culture of data-driven education and innovation can lead to better decision-making and improved outcomes. By providing employees with the necessary tools and skills to analyze data, organizations can encourage a culture of innovation that drives continuous improvement. Lastly, data-driven decision-making can lead to the discovery of new business opportunities and better communication across departments. So lastly, data-driven decision-making makes businesses more adaptable and able to connect with emerging trends and patterns for informed decisions, ensuring competitiveness, relevance, and profitability. For instance, a healthcare company that uses data analytics to track patient outcomes and trends can identify emerging health concerns and adjust their strategies accordingly. So now we will discuss the benefits of data-driven decision-making. Data-driven decision-making offers a multitude of benefits to organizations, including increased transparency, improved decision-making, and flexibility in adapting to market trends. By utilizing data analysis, organizations can identify cost-cutting measures and improve overall performance, leading to increased revenue and competitive advantage. So here are a few examples of how business leaders have utilized data-driven decision-making. So number one, Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, has emphasized the importance of data-driven decision-making in the company's success. Amazon uses customer data to personalize recommendations and improve the user experience. Another example is Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, has implemented a culture of data-driven decision-making in the company, which has led to innovations such as the Microsoft HoloLens and improved performance in key areas. Next one is Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, has implemented data-driven decision-making in the company's manufacturing processes, resulting in cost savings and improved efficiency. So General Motors also uses data to improve the safety and performance of its vehicles. Now, for the pros and cons of data-driven leadership or data-driven decision-making. So one of the benefits of data-driven decision-making is that data enables clear and focused goals. By using data to guide decision-making, business leaders can develop targeted strategies that are informed by evidence rather than intuition or assumptions. This helps to ensure that decisions are aligned with the organization's goals, objectives, and initiatives. Another advantage of data-driven decision-making is that accuracy and objectivity can help to preclude human biases and false assumptions. Business leaders who use data to inform their decisions can avoid the pitfalls of relying on intuition or anecdotal evidence, which can be influenced by personal biases and subjective interpretations. For example, if a company is trying to decide whether to invest in a new product line, the leader can use sales data to determine which products are selling and which ones are not, rather than relying on their own subjective opinions. The next one is insights from data offer a real-time snapshot of the decision-making rationale and help keep the leader's vision dynamic. By continuously monitoring and analyzing data, business leaders can adjust their strategies in real time to respond to changes in the market, customer needs, or other external factors. This helps to ensure that decisions remain relevant and effective over time. Next is leaders who effectively leverage big data, structured and unstructured data, as well as robust operational information, can stay ahead of the curve and prepared for uncertainties. For example, a retailer can use data to predict customer demand for a particular product and adjust their inventory levels accordingly, helping them to avoid stock out and lost sales. Now for the cons, one of the challenges of data-driven decision-making is that data must be reliable, complete, and current. Poor quality or outdated data can spur unexpected results and lead to inaccurate or misleading decisions. For example, if a business leader is using sales data to forecast future revenue, they must ensure that the data is accurate and up-to-date. Otherwise, their projections may be way off. In a continuously changing environment or a black swan event like COVID, data can become obsolete quickly. So business leaders must be prepared to adapt to changing circumstances and adjust their strategies accordingly. For example, a restaurant may have relied on data about customer traffic patterns to determine when to staff up or down. But COVID may have disrupted those patterns and made the data less reliable. Next one is exclusive use of data may not be a reliable litmus for decisions, such as whether to maintain a long-term business alliance. In some cases, decisions require a more nuanced approach that considers multiple factors beyond the data. For example, a business leader may need to consider the long-term strategic value of a partnership, even if the data suggests that it may not be profitable in the short term. Finally, data can be manipulated advantageously or negatively. So to paint a scenario that may not jive with reality, business leaders must be vigilant in ensuring the accuracy and integrity of the data they use to make decisions. For example, a company may manipulate its sales data to create the appearance of higher revenue than it has in order to attract investors or improve its stock price. So now we will discuss the common traps that regularly bias our decision making. So McGarvey and McElheran have identified 3 significant cognitive traps that frequently distort decision making even when using the most reliable data, and provide recommendations for evading them. The first one is the confirmation trap. It refers to the tendency to pay more attention to findings that align with existing beliefs and ignore other facts and patterns. So for example, a company that has always relied on traditional marketing methods may be hesitant to invest in digital marketing, despite data indicating its effectiveness. So to avoid this trap, it is essential to specify in advance the out findings that disprove existing beliefs. The next one is the overconfidence trap. It occurs when senior decision makers are too confident in their abilities due to past successes. This can lead to underinvestment in data analysis and prevent questioning of methods and communication of findings. To avoid this trap, it can be helpful to describe an ideal experiment and compare it with actual data. Make being a devil's advocate a formal part of the decision-making process, and keep track of predictions and systematically compare them with what happens. Example, a CEO may rely too heavily on their past success and not question the methods or motivations of their data analysis team. So the solution is to make being devil's advocate a formal part of the process. Keep track of predictions and systematically compare them with what happens. Describe an ideal experiment and compare it with actual data. The last trap is the overfitting trap. It occurs when a statistical model describes random noise rather than the underlying relationship. Overfit models look good at explaining past data but struggle to predict the future. To avoid this trap, it is important to randomly divide data into a training set and validation set. Avoid cherry-picking data and look for relationships that measure important effects related to clear and logical hypotheses before looking at nuances. It is also essential to beware of the common tendency to see patterns in random data. Now, on the next 3 slides, we will showcase how 3 well-known companies, the Google, Starbucks, and Amazon, use data-driven decision-making in their business operations. So Google utilizes data-driven decision-making in various ways across its operations, with a particular emphasis on people analytics. For instance, the company's Project Oxygen initiative analyzed data from over 10,000 performance reviews and compared it with employee retention rates. This analysis helped Google identify the common behaviors of high-performing managers, and it used this information to create training programs to develop these competencies. As a result of these efforts, Google was able to boost median favorability scores for managers from 83% to 88%. This is just one example of how Google uses data to identify patterns, generate insights, and make informed decisions that drive better outcomes. So now Starbucks is one of the largest coffee shop chains in the world, with thousands of locations across the globe. Like many large corporations, Starbucks is constantly looking for ways to improve its business and make better decisions. One area where the company has successfully implemented data-driven decision-making is in its real estate strategy. In 2008, Starbucks was facing a difficult time financially and had to close hundreds of locations. Then CEO Howard Schultz recognized the need to take a more analytical approach to identifying future store locations. To achieve this, Starbucks partnered with a location analytics company to help it identify the best locations for its stores. Using data like demographics and traffic patterns, Starbucks was able to pinpoint ideal locations for its stores. The company also considered input from its regional teams before making decisions. So this approach helps Starbucks to determine the likelihood of success for a particular location before taking on a new investment. By utilizing data-driven decision-making in its real estate strategy, Starbucks was able to improve its bottom line and avoid the costly mistakes of opening stores in unprofitable locations. This approach also allowed the company to better understand its customers and their preferences, ultimately leading to a better customer experience and increased revenue. Lastly, the Amazon. So Amazon heavily relies on data-driven decision-making to enhance customer experiences and drive sales. One of the most prominent examples of this is the recommendation engine, which uses data analytics and machine learning algorithms to suggest products to customers based on their prior purchases and search behavior. By analyzing customer data, Amazon can identify patterns and preferences and use that information to make tailored recommendations that increase the likelihood of a sale. In 2017, McKinsey estimated that the recommendation system was responsible for 35% of Amazon's consumer purchases, highlighting the significant impact that data-driven decision-making can have on a company's bottom line. Additionally, Amazon uses data analysis in various aspects of its business, including supply chain optimization, inventory management, and pricing strategy. By leveraging data insights, Amazon can make more informed decisions and stay ahead of its competitors in the highly competitive e-commerce market. Now, to become a data-driven decision maker, it requires 3 core capabilities. Number 1 is data proficiency. The next one is analytics agility. And the last one is community. So data proficiency refers to the ability to understand, analyze, and interpret data. It involves not only having access to relevant data, but also understanding how to use it effectively. This capability includes skills such as data visualization, statistical analysis, and data modeling. A data proficient decision maker is able to ask the right questions of the data and make informed decisions based on the insights they gain. Analytics agility is the ability to work with data in a dynamic and flexible way. It involves the use of agile methodologies to analyze data and make decisions quickly and effectively. This capability includes skills such as experimentation, hypothesis testing, and rapid prototyping. An analytics agile decision maker is able to pivot quickly based on the results of their analysis and adjust their approach as needed. The last one is community. It refers to the collaborative and communicative aspects of data-driven decision-making. It involves building a culture of data-driven decision-making within the organization, where data is shared and used across departments and teams. This capability includes skills such as communication, stakeholder management, and teamwork. A community-focused decision maker is able to collaborate effectively with others to leverage data and drive decision-making across the organization. So overall, these three capabilities work together to enable effective data-driven decision-making. By developing data proficiency, analytics agility, and community, organizations can harness the power of data to make better decisions, improve business outcomes, and stay ahead of the competition. Now, making data-driven decisions involve a systematic approach that requires several steps to be followed. Here are 6 essential steps that you can follow to effectively make data-driven decisions. Number 1 is identify business objectives. The first step in making data-driven decisions is to identify your business objectives. So what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Then identifying your business objectives will help you determine what kind of data you need to collect, analyze, and interpret. Next one is survey business teams for key sources of data. And once you have identified your business objectives, you need to identify the key sources of data that can help you achieve those objectives. So these steps involve surveying different business teams to understand what kind of data they have and how it can be useful in achieving your goals. For example, if you are trying to increase your sales, you may need data on customer behavior, sales trends, and market analysis. Excuse me. The next one is collect and prepare the data you need. So after identifying the key sources of data, the next step is to collect and prepare the data you need. This includes cleaning and organizing the data, ensuring data quality, and integrating data from different sources. Number 4, view and explore data. Once you have collected and prepared the data, it's time to view and explore the data. This step involves analyzing the data using statistical and visualization tools to uncover patterns, trends, and insights. Then the next step is to develop insights. Based on your analysis of the data, you should be able to develop insights that can inform your decision-making process. This step involves identifying key findings, making connections between different data, and drawing conclusions based on your analysis. Then the last one is act on and share your insights. The final step in making data-driven decisions is to act on and share your insights. This involves making decisions based on the insights you have gained from the data and sharing those insights with key stakeholders in your organization. It is important to communicate your findings in a clear and concise manner and to develop a plan of action based on your insights. Making data-driven decision involves process that begins with identifying business objectives, surveying key sources of data, collecting and preparing the data, analyzing the data, developing insights, and acting on and sharing those insights. So following these steps can help you make informed decisions that can drive business success. So now we will go with the ethical considerations on data-driven decision-making. So ethical considerations are critical when making data-driven decisions because data is often used to inform decisions that have significant consequences for individuals and society as a whole. It is essential to ensure that data is collected, analyzed, and used in a manner that respects individuals' privacy, avoids bias and discrimination, and prioritizes the well-being of those affected by the decisions. So here are some reasons why ethical considerations are necessary for data-driven decision-making. So protecting individuals' privacy. Collecting, storing, and using data must adhere to laws and regulations governing data privacy to protect individuals' personal information from unauthorized access or misuse. Violating privacy laws can lead to legal and reputational consequences for organizations and undermine public trust. Next one is ensuring fairness and avoiding bias. Data analysis may reveal patterns or correlations that are biased or discriminatory against certain groups of people. It is important to recognize and address these biases to ensure that decisions are fair and unbiased. Next is to promote transparency and accountability. Data analysis should be transparent and accessible to all stakeholders to enable scrutiny and prevent hidden biases or manipulation of data. Those responsible for collecting, analyzing, and using data must be accountable for their actions and decisions, especially when they have a significant impact on people's lives. Next is focusing on human well-being. Decision-making based on data should prioritize the needs and interests of individuals affected by the decision and consider their social, cultural, and economic context. A human-centered approach to decision-making can help ensure that decisions are socially responsible and beneficial to individuals and communities. Then lastly is to build trust and reputation. Organizations must build trust with their stakeholders by being transparent, accountable, and ethical in their use of data. As trust is essential for successful decision-making and reputation management. Failure to do so can lead to negative public perception, loss of customers and stakeholders, and legal consequences. So ethical standards are necessary for data-driven decision-making to protect individuals' privacy, ensure fairness and avoid bias, promote transparency and accountability, focus on human well-being, and build trust and reputation. By prioritizing ethical considerations, organizations can make informed decisions that benefit individuals and society while avoiding negative consequences. Okay, to end my presentation, so data now is at the core of the success of a company. Data has truly become the core of everything, and its effective use and interpretation are crucial for organizations to stay competitive and future-proof of their operations. By incorporating data into the people, process, technology framework, businesses can gain a better understanding of their internal processes, align them with their business goals, and create more personalized customer experiences. Data-driven decision-making is essential for leaders and teams to make high-impact decisions that can drive business success. By relying on various information types and sources and conducting strategic analysis, businesses can unlock insights and opportunities that were previously hidden and ultimately make better decisions. So overall, the ability to harness and utilize data effectively and securely is a critical capability for businesses in today's digital age. By doing so, they can stay ahead of the curve, improve operational efficiency, and deliver superior customer experiences. So that's it po, Doc and classmates. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Doc Mar. So thank you for that presentation. It's 10:48. Maybe we can have a 5-6 minute restroom break. We'll be back at 10:55 and then discuss some of the important items. And probably I would like to share my own experience with this data. Okay, so let's give us 5-7 minutes stretch and then refill that coffee cup and then we'll be back. Okay. Congratulations,
Noted, Doc.
Omar.
Thank you po.
on, clean up the room. Everybody's helping now to clean up the room. Pick up the toys. Come on, pick up the toys. Everybody's helping now. Oh, what a joy. Clean up some more. Just clean up some more. Pick up everything you see so we can see the floor. Clean up the room. Come on, clean up the room. Everybody's helping now to clean up the room. Clean up the room. Come on, clean up the room. Everybody's helping now to clean up the room. Sing while you work. Yes, sing while you work. Everything feels better when you sing while you work. Dance while you sing. Just dance while you sing. Everything feels better when you dance while you sing. Clean up the room. Come on, clean up the room. Everybody's helping now to clean up the room. Clean up the room. Come on, clean up the room. Everybody's helping now to clean up the room. Picking up the toys, cleaning up the room, cleaning up some more, cleaning up the room, singing while you work, clean.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Again, so I assume that everyone had their cup filled with their coffee, stretching as well. So, Doc, let's give again kay Doc Mar for a good presentation. Now it's all about the analysis, data analysis, and using that analysis towards change management. Now, siguro to start the ball rolling, we'll just listen or hear from our colleagues. Doc Mar mentioned about tons of information about data analysis. In your end, we have different backgrounds. Some of you academics, some of you have different corporate setup. Can you just give an example of how you use the data and this data to make you analyze or create a decision making in your daily task, or maybe as a chairperson responsibility? What are those data? How would you analyze it, and how do you use it to make it as to base your decision? So siguro let's hear from Doc Rodriguez muna, being the only rose among the thorns.
Good morning
So,
po.
good morning, Doc. So after listening to Doc Mar's presentation, do you have any questions, clarifications, or if none, maybe can you make use of how it is being this information being useful at your end?
Yes, Doc. I can actually relate to the first example given by Doc Mar, the one in the video. For an academic institution like us, Doc, so since we're about to end our academic year, we're already planning for manpower. So different departments are now requesting for manpower. And then from our end po, from the senior high school, there are some teachers who already submitted their intent not to continue work in our university because they have other offers outside, especially from state universities. So now we are looking into manpower request from the HR. But before we do that, we also have to consider not just by simply requesting, for example po, let's say we have 3 STEM teachers now who will be leaving for this academic year. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to outright look into or getting 3 equivalent teachers. We have to look as well into the enrollment based on last year and then our forecast for the next coming year, considering the attrition rates that we have in our university. So with that po, Doc Pong, I think from our end, we are also using data-driven, we are also using data in terms of coming up with appropriate decisions, especially when it comes to the next academic year po. Thank you so much po.
Thank you. I totally agree with Dr. Rodriguez. Every semester, there's always a challenge of people come in and out. You have to balance it with the limited resources that we have. And not only that is yung kanyang accomplishments and accreditation as well. Kasi you cannot just simply hire anyone. There's a specific criteria. And siguro equally important, you can use also the data on how to later on sustain or to at least encourage new talents. But then again, in reality, if you are against state university, which deals with better compensation, then that's now your challenge. No? This is how you can create an environment not only monetary, maybe it can be something that is more important than that. But syempre, sa hierarchy ng diba, it's always the basic requirements that's needed. But that's also a challenge you as a leader kasi now that you are in a position where you can make suggestions to the upper management, you can not only forecast, but of course, how would you create the working environment in such a way that people would like to stay? Kasi there are also people na kahit na mataas ang sweldo, they don't really like sa hectic, toxic. Maybe you can have some data or information or research regarding that matter. Okay, thank you, Doc Rodriguez, for
Thank
your
you po.
yung kakilala natin, pwede magturo yun.
Oo nga po, Doc, sa tourism po.
Yes, yes. Dating flight attendant. And now she's an entrepreneur. Siguro invite natin siya to be kung available siya.
Yes, Doc, po.
Thank you, Doc Rodriguez. By the way, Doc Mark is here. If you have any questions first or clarifications regarding his report, if you don't have, maybe you can do some quick sharing. So let's give the floor to Dr. Espiritu. Doc, how would you use or apply the information that was given by Dr. Mark towards your own application with regards to your work or personal level, using data analysis to inform decision-making and change management?
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, classmates.
Good morning, Sir Espiritu, Doc Espiritu.
So, I think Doc Santa and I, we are on the same page because in the academe we are also aside from the aside from monitoring the influx of enrollment every term, we are also trying to track yung yung success ng graduates namin after they took entrepreneurship. Let's say, for example, in our College of Business Administration and Accountancy, after that we are after they leave the school, after they graduate, we are monitoring them and tracking all of them about their their employment, like for example, the employability of our students after they took entrepreneurship. So we are also using data, or we are collecting data for us to uh, gather concrete analysis, or for us to create a concrete analysis kung saan napupunta yung mga students namin after. Kasi we are also checking like how many students, or yung mga nag-take ng entrepreneurship, ng course ng entrepreneurship, if they are really into it, or yung iba nagnegosyo, or yung iba talagang they just took the course kasi out of no choice. So we have this considerations, or we always have this analysis na ginagawa kasi many of our students, they are taking entrepreneurship kasi ito na lang yung ah, parang no choice sila, ganyan. So we are trying to make some analyzations kung ano yung ano talaga yung purpose, bakit ito na lang yung tinake nila, parang out, kasi we are trying to eliminate yung factor na hindi kami maging catch basin pag na dahil no choice sila, dahil hindi umabot sa cut-off ng other college or what, or hindi pumasa yung scores nila dun sa ibang college, mag-e-entrep na lang sila, or hindi sila nakapasa sa ganito, so mag-shift sila. No, so we are trying to collect data and gather data about their purpose, kung bakit sila nag-entrep, and we are carefully monitoring these graduates kung ano na yung nangyari sa kanila after nilang i-take yung course. Yan. So being in the academy, it's quite difficult, or it's too difficult for us to have, or to do this kind of analysis, because part of it we have to decide if the students who are trying to shift from this course, or who are trying to transfer in our school taking the course, kung i-accept ba sila, no, or not. Of course, part of it hindi kasi pwedeng hindi pwedeng i-reject mo sila. Yan. But what we are doing, we are doing a thorough analysis kung talaga bang gusto nila, or out of no choice kaya nila tinitake, because we are trying to monitor kung paano sila magiging successful at the end of it. Yan. And we are also trying to monitor through data gathering or tracking nung graduates namin, or how many of them nag-put up ng sarili nilang business, nag-establish ng sarili nilang business after they graduate, or after they taking the course ng entrepreneurship. So that's it for my end, Doc.
Thank you, Doc Spiritu. That's indeed really some of the areas. No? Try to look at the market research objectives to understand and to make sure that the use of data can later on provide solutions, concrete solutions to address that problem. So thank you, Doc Spiritu. Let's hear from Doc Banaag. Sir, kamusta ka na, sir?
Hi Doc, good morning po. Good morning classmates.
How about
Okay lang po. Wala nang stress.
Ayun.
Okay, Doc, about dun sa data analysis, agree din po ako dun na dapat kino-correlate siya or nililink siya sa financials, no? Lalo na sa work sa HR. So sobrang importante sa amin yung data in order to measure and manage the performance. Sobrang vital siya sa salary structures, salary decisions, no, every year para maging competitive at maging at par dun sa market players, para maisip lagi ng mga employees na paid sila, no, accordingly based on the competition tsaka sa skills nila. Also sa promotion din, Doc, kailangan din namin nung analytics. And also siguro ang pinaka-last is pinakahuli yung um, final na importante sa company is yung employee engagement. So kasi lahat naman ng efforts no from recruitment up to labor relations. So data is totally important para we can make a sound decision. So we can totally know no yung level ng employee engagement kasi maraming research ang nagsasabi na at proven naman na employee engagement is one of a non-financial thing pero sobrang need no as a major factor in the business continuity. Yun lang po, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Banaag. I totally agree, especially coming from the HR. One of the things that we need to do is when you need staff, you need to have analysis if this will sustain. A friend of mine, she's very detailed in data and analysis. I was so impressed kasi they're nasa na to sa travel industry. When they hire a ticketing reservation or someone, they exactly know how much the cost because they can compute that yung salary, yung SSS or EB. But equally important, that company also knows how much this person can bring profit sa company. So I was thinking, ganda na analysis nila. So example, for a new graduate who will be working with them as a ticketing reservation or ticketing department, they'll be offering that person as a magkano ba minimum? Basta minimum 15, 17, 18,000. Pero ang forecast nila, if that person works for them, assuming that the number of ticketing that they are doing on a daily, monthly, yearly, that person alone will bring or will help them bring 5-8 times gross income per month sa office nila. Provided that that person will be totally equipped with proper training, certified by Amadeus, and then creating empowering that person to make a decision for this amount of money or transaction. May guidelines. So nakakatuwa. But then again, there's no stable and foolproof rin. Kasi nga, when pandemic, when COVID came, everything changed. Everything nag-change into something. So that's one thing about HR and data analytics. Okay, let's thank you, Doc Manaag, for that sharing. Maybe we can hear kay Dr. Aram. Doc Aram, good morning, sir. And ito, mas maganda kay Doc Aram, I think, different perspective, data and analysis to make decision making.
Good morning, Dr. Pong. Good morning, these classmates. Siguro I can definitely relate dun sa report ni Doc Mar kasi Dr. Pong, data and analytics is actually one of my area no in the current organization and also in my previous organization. Siguro one of the things I can truly relate in terms of operationalizing yung data-driven organization is sometimes ang biggest challenge ng organization talaga is yung where to get the data and then yung integrity ng data. Kasi parang there are really tools that can help you make data have more meaning, no, may mga visualization tools and all of that. Maybe I can share quickly sir later, no, one of my projects para you can have more context on how we use data. Pero yun yung pinaka biggest challenge even in my previous organization na if the data that we're using is not very much I would say established, no, like for example there are many people who are maintaining the data, we don't know if the data is accurate. Ang hirap mag-make sense or i-trust yung data if ganun yung status ng organization. So the biggest I think the initial legwork really is to work on that part. So parang create a structure, create a program that will ensure that the data has integrity. So magbi-build ka ng mga database, mga policies, mga processes to make sure na covered yung area na yon. The second part siguro sir na I could share is yung enablement ng mga users. Not only yung users, even the leaders themselves. Kasi parang for some, they want, yes, I wanted gusto ko maging mas data-driven kami, mas innovative kami. Pero when you show them the technology, build mo na yun for them, sometimes they don't actually use it. That's the problem. Parang they wanted it, pero in reality, they don't know how to use the data itself. So, part na naging parang change management din namin when I came in is to ensure na meron tayong enablement. So, meron kaming program sir na parang a series of training, not only on data but also like for example yung tinidiscuss ni Doc Mar yung agile. Sir also facilitating agile trainings no to make sure na ma-complement nila with some of the learnings that they're also doing in data. So very challenging siya pero to the point of Doc Mar, very powerful siya in organizations nowadays are heavily invested in that no. I think yung example niya yung mga bigger organizations, Amazon, Microsoft is doing that. And I think in the Philippines hindi pa siya ganun sir ka-invested, heavily invested ng mga organization pero there's really a lot of potential. So siguro example na lang sir na when I joined Jollibee or Jollibee Foods Corporation last year, one of the biggest parang or major project na sinabi nila sa akin is help us transform the organization to be much more data driven. So i-analyze na muna natin where the organization is, anong mga challenges, anong problems, and yung mga sinasabi ni Sir Doc Mar kanina, yung mga may hypothesis pa kami, and then we also parang dig deeper no anong mga reasons. We did a lot of interviews. So talagang ano siya, parang overhaul yung naging approach. So siguro sir para mas mai-context ko lang no. I'll share siguro quickly for purposes of discussion. I can share my screen. Ito yung isa sa mga data analytics project that I did for yung parang staffing or recruitment process namin. So not sure if you can see my screen. Ayan. So what actually you're seeing here, again, some things are very confidential. You can see just for purposes of discussion lang, this is actually a dashboard or sabihin nating data analytics platform we're using in our organization, which is Microsoft Power BI. So you can see here yung mga data in terms of ilan na yung hina-hire, ilan pa yung open for hiring, ilan yung nag-accept, ilan yung nag-hire. And what you also see here are different filters. So yung slice and dice, the idea really is to empower yung user. So depende sa need nila, they would slice and dice. Like for example, gusto ba nilang tingnan yung specific division lang, yung specific office lang, specific month lang. So they can also do that in all of those filters, no? At the same time, again, high level lang yan, but again, there are also different parang dashboards pa, that you can see here. Let me just, parang may mga trends kaming ginawa, no, na binil for them. So maybe I can share it dito. Click ko lang to isang field. It also shows ilan yung mga percentages so far. At the store level, sinong brand yan. Also from the recruitment side, nasa na yung recruitment stage, no? So they can see ilan na yung nag-pass ng interviews, then ilan na yung for interview, ilan pa yung nasa hiring manager and also they can make decisions right there and there, no? Mas proactive na yung approach nila as opposed na tapos na yung event, then they will make a decision. And then of course, details, meron dyan details, also slice and dice kasi yun din concept nun is the user side. Tapos may mga trends din kaming binigay for them para they could also see from their governance perspective, ilan ba talaga yung nade-deliver natin every week, ilan pa yung kailangan nating i-deliver based on targets. So ang dami niyang fields, to be honest, na we build actually for more than mga 6 months, no? When this is one of my parang early projects with them. And so far ngayon, ginagamit na siya ng larger organization. And wala sila before this. So gusto ko lang i-share siya para mas ma-contextualize lang yung parang how does it really happen in some organization and some of the challenges that's also being faced. So hopefully nakatulong siya to put more context dun sa report that Doc Mar did. Yan, example lang siya, pero we also have for finance, for accounting, kasi that's also my scope. This is just one example, no, that I can share to the group. So, yun lang sir, Dr. Pong.
Thank you, Doc. Jeff, actually, Doc Mars, si Doc Jeff, ang iyong industry expert sa data analytics. It's a good thing that he's also part of our team. So you would see, the challenge is how to make enablement and empower. By the way, Doc Jeff, the data that you showed is hired for company owned or franchise or
Both, sir.
the whole
Both.
na yun?
Both, sir.
Ah.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So imagine, data analytics and a lot of very damning information. But
Yeah.
because of this information, it helps you as a leader
Yes.
to have accurate forecasting and So I think the challenge talaga, tama si Doc Jeff, is to train and equip and empower those. To what extent do you share the information? Kunyari, top management ba yan? Middle management? Is it open for everyone, Doc Jeff? May restriction din.
May restriction din, sir. Depende sa role, depende din sa level nung person. So mostly the leaders, definitely they have access. And then the operational team, the ones who are doing the groundwork, they also have access to this. Kasi on a day-to-day basis, ito yung starting discussion nila. Na parang for today, where we are, what can we do to fast track things. So parang gano'n, nagiging data-driven na talaga yung actions nila. Because they have this maintained real time. So real time siya din, sir, mini-maintain. Nagre-refresh yung system automatically as they
Maybe ito na yung concept paper mo, sir. Pero because what with the confidentiality, of course. But maganda guys, no? Do you agree na Doc Jeff was able to give us parang an idea, yung actual use talaga. And for Jollibee to be competitive, definitely that's one of the things that they need to do, data-driven talaga. And again, with the data, it gives you accurate forecasting, hopefully, and then from there you can come up with your competitive strategy and how you can do some innovations at your end, sir. So I think Doc Jeff, they have the right person. You're the right person, and you're always been a data analytics guy talaga ever since. So keep up the good work. Yeah. Sabi ni Doc Mar, agree Doc, good to have Doc Adam. Yes. That's the good thing about our classmates kasi some of them are academic, some of them are into the corporate or data analytics. And sharing, that's a good thing, sharing talaga. So thank you, Doc Jeff. For sure, marami pa siya i-share sa atin.
Thank you, Dr. Pam.
Thank you. So let's hear from Doc Albert. And then Nick, the last will be, sino ba si iPhone?
Doc, ako rin po yun.
Ay, ikaw din ba yan? Okay.
Opo.
Sige. So Doc Albert, go ahead.
Good morning, Doc. Doc Pong, good afternoon. Good morning, classmates. Very interesting po yung report ni Dr. Mar and ang lahat po ng sharing, and also interesting din po share ni Dr. Aram. Gusto ko rin po maging student.
No, go ahead.
Okay po. Yung sa side ko naman po, almost similar din sa mga HR and recruitment. And then yun sa akin we can use the na-interest lang ako dun sa last na pinakita ni Dr. Mar, yung pinaka-center na yung data, tapos nakapaligid na yung yung tatlo, yung people and others. And then yun, ginagamit namin yung data para sa improve candidate matching, para mas accurate yung yung profile ng mga candidates and job descriptions, lalo na sa mas maganda yung presentation at mas match, kasi importante yung data para madalas kasi may mga magagaling na aplikante pero hindi nila ma-express yung sarili nila sa CV. So ang company or client madalas kung ano yung nakikita niya. So, yun din yung i-interpret niya. So, kung hindi niya nakikita yung background ng tao doon, kung sinabi niyang pangit, tatapon niya kagad yung CV na yun. So, importante rin yung yung well-detailed yung CV, kahit summarize siya. And then yung in terms of the recruitment data, dapat ayun, we can identify which channels ang most effective in attracting and retaining top talent. Katulad ng mga job portals, yun, kung ano yung most effective, pinakamaraming aplikante. Meron din kami ginagamit yung mostly sa mga company gumagamit naman ng HRIS. And then yun, napaka-importante nun in terms of attracting. Malalaman mo kung saan yung mas maraming aplikante at malalaman mo bakit doon sila mas nag-a-apply. Halimbawa, meron kaming job portal na mas marami ang aplikante in terms of technicians or lower positions. Meron kaming job portal na mapapansin mo mostly Arab lang ang nag-a-apply. Meron kaming job portals na mostly puti lang ang nag-a-apply. So ganun yung iba't ibang ng data. So importante rin yung data to reduce time sa pag-streamline ng recruitment process para mas bawasan yung mas pabilisin yung proseso para ma-deploy mo yung tao from his country, like from Philippines papunta sa bansa dito sa Qatar. Tapos meron din yung talent pool analysis. So doon makikita mo yung quality ng mga candidates mo from different countries. Then bago kami magsagawa ng recruitment, international recruitment, halimbawa mangailangan ako ng mga engineering for Qatargas, saan ba mas maraming aplikante, kailangan magche-check muna ako ng data or i-update ko yung data o ba sa UK ba, sa India, sa Philippines ang pinakamaraming aplikante. Kung saan ang pinakamarami, doon pupunta. Kasi masasayang, mataas ang costings, tapos walang return of investment. Kunwari pupunta sa India, tapos wala naman palang aplikante doon, kakaunti lang. So ganun ka-importante yung data. And then, yun, importante din yung yung in terms ng yung trend sa labor market para makita mo yung yung employment rate. Ayun. So kung saan yung qualification pinakamataas. Yun lang po, Doc.
Thank you, Doc Albert. Kamusta ngayon dyan? Maaraw ba dyan? Malamig?
Gitna pa, Doc.
Gitna,
medyo dapat ngayon dapat sobrang init na. Pero kakaiba ngayon medyo naglamig pa siya this week, Doc.
Naglamig pa. So,
dahil siguro sa climate change din.
Siguro sooner or later, dyan naman kami magka-class.
Yes, Doc. Punta lang po kayo.
Thank you. Now, I agree and thank you for your sharing. Very, very interesting kasi we're coming from the academe. Some of you come from HR. Sir Jeff coming from corporate, the use of data. Sir Albert is coming from a perspective where a lot of different cultures are working and how the data is being used. Now, ako naman, I'll be coming from siguro a very basic perspective coming from entrepreneur. Okay, very, very short lang to. Ayan, share ko lang. Ayan. Now, the picture that you see right now is a property located inside sa compound, and prior to that, my mom and my dad, they have this preschool. So they offer prep, nursery, kinder since 1991. And then maganda yung naging feedback. So some parents decided na why not come up with elementary, grade 1 for expansion. And then since may ready market na kami, so in short, my mom decided to set up this building intended for that expansion. Now, what's funny, nung natapos tong building na to, my mom decided na, okay, huwag na natin ituloy yung expansion. Focus na lang tayo sa kung saan tayo known at. So, nursery, kinder, prep. So, we end up having this building idle. So, sayang kasi we spent around at the time 500,000 for this building and it's zero profit right now. And after na natapos yung building na yan, it was idle for 2 years. So, sayang. Parang it's not making money. It's just nadi-depreciate lang siya and sayang investment. So, at the time, I took upon myself the responsibility to make this idle property to a performing asset, no? So, sabi ko, ano kaya pwedeng gawin dito? Kasi originally it was intended for school. So the structure was school. So makikita nyo sa building na yan, yung buong floor na yan, parang classroom, and then second room, buong classroom. So ito pa other things para mahirapan ako maghanap ng idea. My parents were strict about dapat if you come up with a business idea, dapat walang cooking inside the building kasi takot sila sa masunog, etc. And then since this is located inside the property or the compound, security is an issue. So sabi nila, ayaw namin yung masyadong open yung gate. Baka mamaya masalisigang, di ba? So we wanted na as much as possible, if you think of a business, dapat secured. Dapat kung pwede, dyan lang. Parang naisip ko, kulungan lang ata pwede dito eh. Parang bawal lahat. And then, to make things more challenging, kailangan certain months lang. Ayaw namin year. Gusto namin may months lang para yung ibang months, we can rest, we have the privacy. So these are the 3 things that I was thinking. And it took me 2 years to come up with a good idea. And ako kasi dati, whenever I have a project, I name it para naman maging exciting, di ba? So, I name it from zero to euro. Kasi nung time na yon, this was 2002 at 2003. At the time, euro dollars was still introduced in the world. And since zero siya, kasi zero profit, naghanap ako ng rhyme na medyo sa zero. So, zero to euro. Zero to puro. Dapat zero to euro. So, I named it after my initials, FBT Dormitory. So, guys, alam mo yung data ko came from an unusual data. My first initial data came from an interview. Kasi at the time, sinama ko yung pinsan ko sa Fairview. He's a doctor. He wants to talk to a co-doctor from SLU, Baguio. So sumama ako at the time, walang ginawa. So nag-try ko pumunta ng Fairview. And then I was amazed kasi there's inside sa Fairview is also similar, there's this compound, maraming mga bahay kubo, pero very, very small concrete houses lang. So when we went to Fairview, nakausap namin, and then I get a chance to talk to one of their friends. So sabi ko, taga saan ka? Ano name mo? Anong ginagawa niyo dito? Me being Marites, tinanong ko, sabi ko. So sabi niya, I'm here, we're here, magkaklase kami. I was very impressed kasi nung pumunta ako doon, nakita ko siguro just having eyeball, 100 to 80 to 100 students ang nandun. So tinatanong ko, ano kaya ginagawa nila dito? So nakita ko, out of my data based from interview, I asked, why are they there? So sabi nila, kailangan daw nila ng place kasi mag-review sila. They are doctors na they would like to get their license, doctors, PRC. At kaya sila dito ngayon sa Fairview, wala silang other choice kasi ito yung business nila ever since, si Tita Fanny. And then sabi ko, magkano binabayaran nyo? Sabi niya, at that time it was 6,500 kasama yung food, kasama accommodation. And then nung tinignan ko yung accommodation, kung naalala niyo yung classroom ng San Beda, half ng classroom na yun, tapos gawin mong dorm itsura noon, 4, sumasikip. And then tinanong ko, bakit kailangan kayo magtiis dito? Sabi niya, wala na kasi ibang place. And then sabi ko, how long are they staying for preparation sa review? Sabi nila, it was 3 to 4 months. And sabi ko, how many times do you take the medical exam? Sabi nila, it's 1 in February and 1 in August, yung time na yun. And then, tinanong ko, during the exam, paano kayo pupunta? Kanya-kanya daw silang punta doon sa PRC. So imagine nyo, Fairview to PRC, nagko-compete sila. So umalis sila ng maaga. So because of that data, it brought me a eureka idea. Sabi ko, alam ko na kung anong magandang business ko doon sa idle building na yun. I will convert that building as a dormitory. So having that data, continuous to, I keep on collecting data kasi tinatanong ko gaano ba kadami ang mga doctors sa kumukuha sa February and August. Doon ko nalaman, ang February pala is the regular month na nag-exam talaga. And then yung August is the regular month. February is yung mga irregular. So twice a month, twice a year. And then, tinitignan ko sila paano yung behavior nila. Gigising daw sila, kakain, mag-aaral. Because they need to pass all 12 exams. And they have to take it in 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays of the last 2 weeks ng Feb or August. So, having that information, nagkaroon na-answer na yung question ko. Number 1, mayroon na akong target market, mga medical doctors provincial kasi taga Baguio, St. Louis. And then, yung sinasabi ng cooking inside the building, hindi sila nagkukook kasi sa pinag-stayan nila, meron silang breakfast, lunch, dinner sa mess hall nila. So, ang nagluluto, yung mismong nagpo-provide ng food, ng accommodation. And then, nasagot din yung aking problem na security kasi most of the time, 80-90% of the time, they stay inside the dorm or the place kasi they have to study. Because if they miss or fail one subject, then hindi pa sila magiging full-fledged doctor. They need to take the other exam ulit, which is, it depends on, kung nag-take ka ng February, hindi ka pumasa, kuha ka ng August, and then vice versa, August. And then certain months, so nabilang ko, kapag February ka mag-exam, as early as November, December, January, February, mababa ka na sa Baguio, pupunta sa Manila. And then, doon ka na mag-exam. And then after February, there are several months tahimik kasi yung next na darating will be 3 to 4 months before August. So may 2-3 months bakante. And during that bakanting months, then yung time pwede ka magpahinga, pwede ka repaint ng mga rooms, among others. So, initial data ko, asking the right question and asking the right person. So, because of the information I had, I created and offered my first service November 2002. Actually, guys, I was still nakakatawa yung mga information na kinukuha ko kasi it was not the first time or the last time that I went to my competitor to the point that I pretended that I was a med student from Cebu, di ba? So tingnan ko yung rooms, tingnan ko lahat yung amenities nila, tingnan ko yung condition of living nila, nakita ko yung Eurotex nila, 2-inch lang. So sabi ko, for comfortable dapat at least 4-inch. Tapos yung pillowcases, saka blankets, sa ng mga doctors. So I opened my first building, my first batch 2003 of Feb. Initially, I had 35 dormers from St. Louis University, Baguio. It was here located in building na sa Tandang Sora. And pinatun ko na yung same yung price ko, siname ko na lang, 6.5. Pero what makes it better sa akin kasi bago yung building, bago yung Eurotex, from 2-inch na kalaban ko sa competitor, naging 4-inch. So comfortable, saka bago. And then bagong paint, so parang they have this impression na, oy, bago na. And the rooms are bigger. Kasi nga napuntaan ko yung rooms eh. Sabi ko, late naman nito. Pero talaga nag-boom yun kasi wala siyang kalaban. So sabi ko, I will take the competition away from this. And then, yung first batch ko, 85% passing. And then, si Doc Ore from St. Louis University got the top spot. I think he's top 10. So, syempre, alam mo yung mga doctors, ano yan eh, medyo superstitious na, uy, baka swerte, diba? Pero hindi naman tayo ninawa sa swerte. But baka higher yung passing rate dito. So, the dormitory, ang logic of the business is providing accommodation and food. That's the reason why you ask for 6,500. Kasama na yung breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then yung ano nila, naka-complete na yun. Yung aircon nila is may morning and then break ng lunch and then aircon ulit ng hapon and then break hanggang 9 or 10 in the morning and evening and then 10 to 5 ulit. Some of them ayaw nga nila mag-aircon kasi kalaban nila yung aircon sa pagtulog. Anyway, moving forward and creating the case. So my customers, nakita ko hindi lang St. Louis. Nakita ko because of data, nakita ko yung nagbasa ko ng PRC results, tingnan ko yung schools na nag-offer na doctor, nag-focus ako sa provincial doctors. So tinignan ko sa north, so I looked if there's a north. So St. Louis University was my first, and then Cagayan State University learned. Pumunta rin kami sa Cagayan kami. We offered, pinakita namin yung place. And then Xavier University from Cagayan de Oro decided to join in. So yung first batch ko was 36, second batch ko naging 85, third batch ko naging 135. So ganun kadami ang biglang kasi yung word of mouth. Tapos wala pang social media platform nun kasi we're looking at 2002. Okay, so after 21 years, I already have a capacity from 36 kasi itong dorm na to, first floor, there are 3 rooms, 6 people each, so 18, 36. Now, because because of the data, because of both observation, interview, casual talk, and collecting of resources and yung mga newspapers, journals, that keeps me constant innovation, yung Kaizen. So makikita niyo later, I was able to come up with a framework. So after 21 years, we serve over 5,000 medical student doctors. We already have the green, white, pink houses, and then from idle to income property. Just to give you a number, diba dati, 0 yung amount. Can you imagine yung first batch from 0, we charge 6,500 per person for 35 people every month. And then nung second batch namin, we increased ng 1,000, naging 7,500 for 86 people. And then because of the data that we use, what we did was we cater. Kasi nalaman namin na some doctors, they are willing to pay more if they have more privacy or isa lang siya sa room. So syempre we will charge them mahal. So because of this discussion, the data analytics, the data, and how it changed management. Kasi dati from school, naging dormitory, from the leadership of my parents, naging sa aking leadership, I was able to come up with the conceptualized with spine because of the data that I got. And this is the formula that I use for innovation and spotting opportunities. Okay, remember, diba, ang logic of the business, it started offering accommodation and food. Diba? But information and data is so important that if you want to look at it and analyze, that is where you can start your innovation. That's where you can start improving your services and products. So, syempre, because of S stands for scanning the environment. So, anong ginawa ko doon? I get data both primary and secondary research. Primary, yung sinabi ko kanina, nag-interview ako, ask the right questions, ask the right person, the right people. So, I asked the doctors. Syempre, tinignan ko. Kasi kung ano man ang sagot ng St. Louis, most likely yun din ang sagot ng mga ibang doctors. So, they same with validation. Secondary research, I got information, how many ba nag-e-exam, how many ang pumapasa sa FEB, anong school ang top performing, nakalabas yun sa newspaper, di ba? Lahat naman ng, even yung law, di ba kakalabas ng law last Friday, nilalabas nila yun, how many, ano yung national passing. So ako, I don't really care yung national passing, makikita mo lang na tumataas o dumadaming bumabagsak, and then dun mo rin malalaman na mas maraming bang nursing ngayon because yung opportunity nila or yung kanilang career mas mataas kaysa sa doctor. Ganun din nangyari sa akin. Pero kahit mayroong change ng number of doctors or students who are not taking doctors anymore, I use newspapers information. And then, what do I look in this process? Look for opportunities. So, na-identify ko kanina obstacles turning to opportunities. And then, because of having interview, getting information, nagkaroon ako ng inspiration at chance encounter or serendipity. That's what I use. Serendipity to come up with this business and complement the non-idle property. So what do you expect? So na-identify ko kanina, meron akong competitor. You have to come up with a superior position for the product. How can you be a better choice? Kasi meron na existing. So what I did, I observed from the foam, from the space, from anything. So yun. And then, dapat in this stage, very clear yung logic of the business. Why are you, why do you exist? So at that time, I'm existing because I want to provide accommodation and food. Pero, naging inspiration ko kasi, sa totoo lang, is I want to have a business where I can make impact. Meaning, siguro yung may business ka na naging part ka ng buhay nila. Diba? So, dormitory is one of them. Kasi whenever I see my dad and mom when they were still in UST, they came from the province, they had this dormitory. Laging nilang naalala yung nagiging life nila sa dormitory, masaya, malungkot. Doon nila unang nakilala yung mga friends nila, yung mga rules, regulations ng dormitory. So, ganun nangyari. So, it's no longer about accommodation and food. It's more about getting to know the person, having a real name relationship, first name relationship, whether that person has to fail, you treat that person as if extended family. And if you do those things, I think okay yung business mo magiging ano siya. It's no longer about money, it's about relationships. So what are the profile? So because of that information I got, both primary, secondary, I had a better understanding now. Okay, so alam ko twice a week, sinabi ko kanina, an average examiners, so makikita nyo dito, mas madaming August kasi that's the regular, 1,300 nationwide sa February. By the way, nung time na yon, there are only two areas that they can take their exam. BRC, which is in Manila, and if you are in the South, Cebu. So wala kang choice. Kung ikaw ay taga Cagayan, if you are in Baguio and other northern provincial areas na meron kang medical school, wala kang choice kung bababa ka sa Manila. So may influx of demand for those, and the supply, wala. So that's where I came in. And then doon ko nalaman, 4 days, 12 subjects, and ang national passing rate that I got from the newspaper is 50 to 55 national passing rate. So there's an average of 3 to 4 months to study. So that was my data. Competitor, I mentioned kanina, Tita Fanny, for view capacity niya 100. Nakita kong room niya only good for 6. Lahat good for 6. Minsan nga, magkasama na yung lalaki babae, pero okay lang yun kasi doctor, so may gano'n naman sa hospital. Wala nang choice eh. They don't have the luxury of choosing the room kasi first come, first serve, walang supply. And then they've been in the business for 10 years. And then same, kanilang is medical doctors, Baguio, Cagayan de Oro, Iloilo, Cagayan Valley, Cebu. So yun yung kanilang client. So because of data, I went deeper. Observation, again, asking question. The P stands for perceived consumer behavior. Again, using data and analysis. So that's where you talk your customer, you ask the right question, you ask the negative question. Anong ayaw mo kay Tita Fanny? Anong ayaw mo sa lubong na to? Anong ayaw nyo? Kasi yung negative questions, pag nagsagot sila, it is more, it's easier to understand. Kunyari, yun nga, going back sa kutsyon, masyadong manipis yung kutsyon, masakit sa likod. So, very, very inconvenient, di ba? But if you buy or invest a 4-inch kutsyon, it makes a big difference. So, yun. So, you interview them, you observe. Very observant lang nung time na yun eh. So nagkaroon ako ng first batch. Ang nakita ko, umaalis sila every morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at least half of the population. So tinatanong ko, saan sila pupunta? Pupunta pa sila sa UP. Nagkataon malapit yung dorm sa UP kasi it's in Soda. So eto ako, sabi ko may MB van ako nung time na yun. Sabi ko, why not, sila commute kayo? Sa convenience, magano na lang kayo, bayad na lang kayo ng 25 pesos one way, 25 pesos back. Gamitin niyo yung van, may driver kayo dyan. So yun, bumatay. And then one time, sumama ako, to cut the story short, yung review kasi na pinag-aralan nila doon is also rented by doctors sa UP. Kaya nila ginawa sa UP kasi accessible. So sabi ko, what if, sabi ko itong mga taong to, yung mga teachers, na instead of going sa UP, i-contact na lang yung review nila sa dorm kasi I already have the number. So again, in this process, what we look for, behavior patterns, what are the habits of your customers, what are the preference and tastes, what will be the product or service attributes. So what do you expect as an entrepreneur? Dapat you can visualize the product or service. You have to understand what is the definition of the product or service quality. And you have to understand the consumer profile. Like kunyari, mga doctors sila, they are willing to pay for convenience. So imagine I was able to come up with these items. So ano ang naging sample yan? Because of data, nagkaroon ako ng analysis, sabi ko, more of the same, continuing a tradition concept. So because of these steps, talk, interview, observe, look at the patterns, look at the habits, preference, products. These are the things that I came up with. Number one, because yung time is the essence, limited sila, wala na silang time to do laundry. So remember, 2002, I was the one sa dorm ko. I offered the laundry services. So I created jobs sa mga housewives sa church namin na walang ginagawa. But when they found out that they wanted to be part of the laundry, bumili sila ng mga sarili nilang washing machine. And then, ang ginagawa nila, they come and visit sa dorm. They get per kilo. And then after 3 days, wash and fold with a certain amount of money. They give it back. Tapos, binibigyan na lang nila ako ng commission yung laundry for every kilo, 10 pesos. So, malaki na yun. Kasi imagine if it's 140 dormers, how many kilos that? And mas madaming babae yung pa-kilo kasi marami sila. Sa mga guys, shorts lang. And then, ayan, pumasok yung pagiging tourism ko. I created a shuttle service. Kasi nahirapan sila mag-commute in the morning. So sabi ko, gusto nyo, ganito lang gawin natin. Itemize ko kayo kung sino kukuha sa PRC, sino kukuha sa UE. I-group natin, mag-hire ako ng shuttle. With that shuttle, I will provide bottomless soda, snacks, lunch, water, medicines with a fee. And just to have a quick number, the total cost is 1,500 for the 4 days. And then I passed the cost, ginawa kong 3,000 pesos. Kasi I had to cover my cost. And then may profit din siya. So nakita nyo, not only accommodation and food, but because of the data, I was able to innovate. I was able to provide my dormers other services. But to the point, it also adds so profit at the end of the day. So yun, so tuwa-tuwa sila because imagine kapag natapos na sa isang subject, they can go down, they can review for the next subject, naka-aircon sila. Tapos meron akong runners, minsan masakit ulo nila, they ask for medicine. Sometimes the day before, tinatanong namin, ano gusto nyo, McDonald's, Jollibee, nalagay na namin order. Para pagdating nila doon, nandun na yung order nila. Tapos nag-alacart na lang kami kasi yung soft drinks mas maganda, malamig, so separate. Anyway, yun yung mga details. So nakita nyo, dati accommodation food lang, but because of data, you were able to come up with other services that they pay because you understood where they're coming from, you understand yung kanilang need, and then you provide. And then the I, the spine, is Impel Creative Pursuits. Again, using data, you look at how can you be creative in your business? How would you look for the great difference? It should be different from your competitor na. So how do you do that? Araw-araw, tinitingnan ko, naglalakad ako sa door, tinitingnan ko yung mga movements nila. Ano pa bang kulang? Yan, what I mean by fill the void. Ano pa bang kulang? What can I do to satisfy the urge? Okay, so ang kapalit nun, ano yung original? Ano yung meron ako na wala sa iba? And then novelty, same as original, uniqueness naman yan. And then the great difference, and then the seed. So what to expect? You have to look at what is the trending opportunity, and then because of that, you can come up with maybe a breakthrough, a product, or a service. So what is a concrete example sa Dormco? Remember, ang competitor ko, si Tita Fanny, they've been in the business for 10 years, 10 years earlier sa akin. So more experience sila. But they retain their service, accommodation, and food. Again, data. So because of that, nagkaroon ako ng mini sari-sari store, honesty policy. Kasi sila, takot silang mandaya kasi nga baka balikan sila sa karma. So minsan nagugutom sila sa gabi. So instead of going out because of the curfew or security purpose, naglagay na lang ako ng parang mini store. Nandun na lahat, instant noodles, except lang for sigarilyo. Pero minsan, bumibili sila sa labas. Nagkaroon ako ng massage service, but if that's not me or I created one, I asked a friend of mine who used to be in the massage na hanggang ngayon nasa massage, siya yung una nag-introduce na massage sa bahay. So they go, they schedule, and then nagpatong na ako ng 50 pesos every hour. So they charge 250, mayroon ako 50 pesos per hour. It's available 24 hours. And at that time, internet access was not available, but inisip ko, need nila yan. So nagkaroon ako ng and then provided that they bring their own laptop. Kasi dati, I provide the desktop, nagkaroon ng virus sa laptop nila. And then drinking water. Kasi Tito Fanny didn't provide that. They need to order pa. Sa amin, may friend ako, drinking water. So it's a 5 gallon. Dati 60 pesos na ito. Ngayon, nasa 25 pesos na lang yan. You get the idea, you get to see, you get money because of their convenience. And then movie theater, bumili lang ako ng projector na maganda, and then during their break time or during their I normally show movies na for free. And then nagkaroon ako to, one of the breakthrough ko is the in-house review. Yan. Kung makikita niyo ako dyan, medyo payat pa ako noon. Okay? Kasi Kaya ko pinili itong picture na to because these are the second batch. These are from Cagayan State. So 12 subjects, guys. Remember, they yung mga teachers, they charge 600 per person, and out of 600, I get 200 person net. And then sa class nila, they want at least minimum of 30 packs. So nag-average ako ng 45 people per subject. And then itong mga lecturers nila from different schools. So imagine nyo, convenient. Dati, they go out. Now, the teachers are now going to my dorm. And then nakakatawa dyan, guys, if they need extra, such as PowerPoint, or they need speakers, mic, I charge the teachers for the usage. Siyempre, hindi naman kasama yun sa amin na, di ba? And then, yung ano pa ba, yung dating, anyway, yun. So, may bawat galaw nila may charge. And then, the last two, you niche on your competitive advantage. What is your niche? Kasi itong mga present ko, madali gayahin. Tulad ni Tita Fanny, kasi sa they can have their own sari-sari store, etc. So dapat dito sa process na to, yung data na gagamitin mo, dapat something na what is my niche? What will be my competitive advantage? So how to do it? You examine impacting factors. What will you think of something that will have a total impact? And what do you look for? You look at for the standard specification, if you need high competence skills from your employees, or consumers' premium preference. Dati, you are addressing what they need. Now, ano na ang preference nila? And see if you can fill that void. So what to expect dapat if you provide this or offer this with the balance of data that you gathered, dapat acceptable yung quality product. So what was my first niche on competitive advantage? The breakout of rooms. I was the first one who introduced, since I know that some people or some of my clients, they are putting premium on the size and the privacy and inclusivity. Ito yung naging breakdown ko. I have rooms that good for 8 people, 2 rooms. I have 6 rooms, which is very popular, 12 rooms. I have 4 people in a room. I have 11 rooms. And then I have 3 rooms good for 2 people. And I have 2 rooms good for 1 person. And ang una at laging nauubos dyan ay yung 1 and 2 people in a room. And they pay, just to give you an idea, a 1 person in a room is 15,000 pesos a month. So, pero yun ang unang nalalakyan, unang reserve. And then another one is swimming pool. Akala nila yung pool ginawa ko sa kanila, pero because of the preschool dati, may swimming pool kami. Pero sinasama na rin namin yan sa package, free of use as long as yung dormer. So nakikita nila na, yung dorm namin may pool pa. So yun. So yun yung ano. And then nakita ko nga yung isang tweet, afternoon swim, reviewing, mix the pool, 1 hour. And then letter E, tulad ng ginagawa natin, the need to evaluate. Use data, you analyze it, but do not forget to evaluate it as tulad ng sinabi ni Doc Jeff, meron din silang hypothesis. Use evaluation, use the data to prove or disapprove your hypothesis. And then second, how do you evaluate overriding assumption? You look for expert opinions. Look at what's happening sa PRC, ano mangyayari sa mga doctors. Kasi ngayon, they are now opening sa provincial. So that means may iba na yung target market mo. So are you going to continue doctor market, or you can look for other license na dito pa rin sa Manila? So ganon. And then you validate. And then what do you look for? Look for the trending. Look at what's happening. Again, focus on what's happening sa external factors, the pestle. Is there a new law that will affect your business? Or it will complement your business? So always read. And then what to expect? Fortify your position. Do whatever you want to do. And then better product development, differentiation, innovation, constant improvement. and then feedback. Yan, very important. Kasi no feedback, we don't know as a manager or as an entrepreneur if what you're implementing is good or bad for them. And then again, as a review, because of the data analysis or I was able to come up with a SCADA environment, perceived consumer behavior. And I think this is not only applicable sa monetary business. Maybe you can use this as your sa academic, di ba? Ano nangyari sa academic ngayon? Ano nangyari sa CHED? Ano nangyari sa DEX? Ano nangyari sa ano? So maybe these are the things that I might share based from the topic that we discussed. And then if you have time, these are some of the YouTube that was uploaded. If you want to look at an example of my dormitory, there was one popular patch 6. You can click on that. And then di ko na na-share to because of lack of time. Because of brokerage, I was able to innovate because again of the data and analysis that had a change management. So these are the two things that I want you to see if you have time. So yun lang ang aking experience and kaya ako nakita yun. So thank you guys, and I think it's almost 11:58, 2 minutes. Again, I will save this and share it. Maybe we can open the camera so we can take our pictures and have our lunch. So yun. Okay, Sir Albert, and I hope to see you face to face soon. Okay, so count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so thank you guys. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you 2 weeks from now. 2 reporters, and then continue meeting your honor. Thank you. God
Thank you,
bless.
Dr. Paul.
Bye-bye.
Classmates. Take care, everyone.
Thank you
Bye.
po. Pilar.